warm library welcome to Molly Hofer. Welcome, Molly.
You. I'm very glad to be here. Thank you for having me here, Sarah. And hi, Jenny. I see Jenny online as well. Would you like me to try to share my screen, or would you like me to
Do you want to
talk a
talk a
little bit
little
about
bit
myself?
about how you got into this line of
Absolutely.
work and how long you've been doing it and
Sure.
what got you interested in this?
I'm happy to. Um, as I said, my name is Molly Hofer, and I am a family life educator with the University of Illinois Extension. I'm a gerontologist by training, so my background is in the study of aging, and I teach mostly about aging issues, but just about everything I teach can impact anyone, no matter their age. So I have worked as an educator with the university for 32 years. I just started my 33rd year in November, so I've been at this a long time, and I've been teaching about brain health specifically. I teach about all kinds of topics, but brain health, I taught my first brain health program right at the turn of the century. I was asked around 2002 to provide my first brain health program, and I have co-developed many, many, many different brain health programs since with other educators. Our work is developed by us and peer reviewed by our specialists. And if you've ever heard of the program WITS Workout, it's a brain exercise program that is um, held in many libraries across the state. That is a program I developed. It is a facilitator's guide I co-developed, and we are in the process of getting that evidence-based. So if you're ever interested in knowing more about that, I can share that with you as well.
Fantastic. Thank you, Molly, for the background. And we look forward to hearing what you have to tell us about making our brains stronger and healthier tonight. So take it away. I'm going to
Okay.
disappear here off the screen. Let me know if you need anything at all. I'll
Well,
be around.
everyone keep your fingers crossed with this share business because my brain cells were not working together a few minutes ago when I was trying to figure this out, but I think I'm okay. From current slide. Okay. Does it look okay? Jenny, just get on if it doesn't. Otherwise, I will consider it a go.
Yes, we're good, Molly.
Okay, great. So as Jenny, I'm sorry, as Sarah mentioned, this is the first in a three-leg series or a three-part series we call Brain Health, It's a No-Brainer. And tonight's program is called Headstrong. Next month, I come back on March 3rd, and I will present the program Hold That Thought, and that program is on memory and aging. And then the last program will be on April 7th, and that is called Two Heads Are Better Than One. And in that program, we will talk about socialization as a factor in brain health. But tonight, we're going to talk about how we can keep our heads strong, and that is through a lifestyle contributing factors. There are 6 of them that I'll present tonight. They are often called the pillars of brain health. So I'll start by kind of asking a rhetorical question. When you were young, did you ever hear things like eat your vegetables or finish that milk and you can get up from the table, or go outside and play and I'll call you when it's time to come in, or 8 o'clock is bedtime, start to get ready for bed? I think we all heard all of those things when we were growing up, but little did we know that those are golden rules for brain health. Those are parts of the pillars of brain health. And it's not only brain health, of course, it's also body health, and we are one. So um, our brain is healthy, our body is healthy, and all of the things we do help both typically. So that's what we'll talk about tonight. I will talk about these 6 pillars of brain health individually. All of my programs are interactive, even though, Sarah, will I have an opportunity to have you tell me what is in the chat if I have people write things into the chat?
Yes, I will
Okay,
monitor the
good.
chat for you, Molly.
Okay, great. So it will be interactive in that way where you can put answers in the chat and uh, Sarah may have to help me and see what the answers are, but um, we will have interaction. I won't just be a talking head for the next hour. And you will also, as I'm talking and talking about the lifestyle contributing factors to brain health, I want you to do a little bit of self-reflection and think in terms of diet, for instance. What am I doing? And as far as contributing to my brain health that way, are there things that I could change? Are there things that I should adjust? And just do a little self-reflection and write yourself a little note if there's something that I say that you might want to try. Okay. I do want you to have pen and paper handy because some of the activities we're going to do require you to write down answers on scratch paper. And, or you could try to remember them. It's good for the noggin, but better to write down some of your answers. And then also, as you contemplate and think, what am I doing to better my brain health? Perhaps you might want to really try something. Maybe you'll want to try exercising more and create a little plan for yourself after you leave the program tonight. Create a little plan for yourself if you'd like to make any kind of change or any kind of headway in a different direction health-wise. All right. So here are the lifestyle contributing factors to brain health. Researchers often refer to them as the pillars of brain health, as I've mentioned a couple of times. And they're very simple. They are things that you have been doing throughout life. There are things, I am you, you are me. There are things that we do well and things that we can do better, right? So getting good quality sleep, eating well, exercising, managing our stress, staying in that social game of life, having social connections, and intellectual engagement, challenging ourselves. And I always say that last one tongue in cheek because every time I teach about brain health, I'm teaching to people who want to learn more. So keep doing that. And of course, we're doing this through a library tonight. So all the better. Another way to engage intellectually. So these really contribute to brain health when we don't focus specifically on one lifestyle factor, but really touch on all of these for optimal benefit. So really trying to make headway or change in the direction. And if you're already doing well in all of these areas, even better, gold stars all around. So if we start with sleep, the importance of sleep, and I love this slide. It makes me laugh every time I see it. I'm so good at sleeping, I can do it with my eyes closed. Sleep certainly affects our physical health. It affects our mental health. If you've ever taken care of a cranky baby who's needed a nap, you know it can also impact or influence our mood. Sleep can help us think better. It can help us focus better. It does all kinds of good things for us, as we know. And if you've experienced a poor night's sleep lately, you know what it feels like when you haven't had good sleep. You know that you yearn for good sleep, and you might feel really out of sorts the next day or for a couple of days until you really do feel like you're starting to sleep better. So in the chat, if you don't mind, tell me how many hours of sleep per night you think adults need from a research standpoint. What are our professionals saying as far as how much sleep we need?
So, Molly, we don't have the chat per se, but we do have question and answer
Oh, okay.
area. So let's see. Uh, Angel said 8,
Very
and Wendy
good.
said 8 hours a
Angel and Wendy
night.
are good. Yes. From a research standpoint,
Bur
adults need, go
I
ahead.
have more. Burju says 9.
Good, good.
Okay.
They're all good answers. On average, as adults, we need 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night. But if someone says 9, that might mean that you need 9 to feel really good the next day. So I'm not really going to tell you to fix what isn't broken. I'm just telling you that on average, we do need, for optimal benefit, we do need 7 to 8 hours of sleep per night. And if you're not getting enough sleep or where you don't feel like you're sleeping well, of course, anytime we talk about any of these health related things, my broad stroke response will be to talk with your medical professional about it because um, that is the best thing to do to get on the right track, to talk to your doctor or your healthcare team. So, even though everyone experiences a poor night's sleep occasionally, there are things that we can and should do to try to get a good night's sleep. And this researchers refer to this as having good sleep hygiene. Now, good sleep hygiene is like any good practice. It's a practice or a behavior that helps you in the most healthy way. So if we're thinking in terms of good sleep hygiene, what are some things, and you again can put it in your wherever you're responding, what are some things you do to signal to your brain and your body that you are preparing for rest? Do you have rituals or good sleep hygiene where you do certain things that help you wind down and know that it's time to sleep? And if there are any responses, if not, I'll give you some. Some people say I take a bath before bedtime, or I like to read to 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 help myself wind down. And that's great unless you're reading something that gets you worked up or something that is so intriguing that you can't put it down. Some people say, I really need my room to be cool. I really need it to be quiet. Other people say, it's fine, except I always need some kind of background noise, like white noise or the fan going or something. So whatever works for you that works, keep doing it. I'm not, again, going to tell you to fix what isn't broken, but sometimes one of these tips, for instance, from a research standpoint, is to eliminate electronics from the bedroom. And when I say that to audiences, sometimes they'll say, well, I have to sleep with the TV turned just down, just where I can barely hear it. I can't tell what's being said, but that is my noise. That is what helps me sleep. And again, if that works for you and you do get your good hours of sleep in, that works for you. But limiting the use of electronics before bed and no electronics in the bedroom is one of the tips for good sleep hygiene. Relaxing before bed, avoiding alcohol or caffeine late in the day, avoiding exercising late in the day too, because although exercise is fabulous for us, and we'll talk about that in a minute, if we exercise too close to bedtime, sometimes that really energizes us, doesn't it? Sometimes it keeps us from relaxing and falling asleep. A lot of people say to me, I'm fine if I lay in bed, if I could just turn my mind off, if I could stop thinking about things and um, thinking about what I have to do the next day, or thinking that I don't want to forget this, or I probably should have done that today. I need to do it tomorrow. If you are that kind of person and you have the wheels turning as soon as you lay down, try to put a pad of paper and a pen right next to the bed. And when you do have a thought, write it down, and that mere transfer from your head to paper is sometimes what it takes for people to know, okay, I'll see it tomorrow. I don't have to think about it anymore tonight. And sometimes that works for people. Keep a sleep schedule, which means go to bed at the same time every night and wake up at the same time every morning, all days of the week. So let's say this coming weekend you have a family wedding and you know you'll be out until midnight or so, and that's 2 hours past your bedtime. Make sure the next morning you get up at the same time and then go to bed at your regular time that night to get yourself right back on track. It isn't always easy, but staying within a sleep schedule can help your body know that it's when it's time to rest, and you can get on that rhythm of rest. I think I've said everything. Does anyone have something that they do that they think would be helpful for other people to know? If so, maybe you can put it in the chat or the place you're writing down your responses.
Molly, we have a few. Can you hear me?
I
Oops,
can
there's my mic. Lower the lights,
lower the
change into
lights.
comfy PJs,
Hmm.
stop with the gizmos and blue light. Let's see
Yes.
what else we have. Burju, I do. I use a guided sleep meditation.
Oh,
Sandy says,
lovely.
read a book, turn off the lights. So a
Lovely.
few things. Yeah.
I read a book until I wake up and realize that I've fallen asleep and then turn out the lights. That's
Right.
what happens to me. And that's okay too, as long as you can go
Yeah.
right back to sleep, right? Those are all fabulous. Now let's do a quick little activity together on your scratch paper. Recall is one of the most normal changes associated with memory and aging, a change in recall, a change in the ability to recall information when we want it. And if you've ever had that tip of the tongue feeling like, oh, I know the name of that doctor or that restaurant, but it's not coming to me right now. That is what I'm talking about. As we age, we have those episodes of that tip of the tongue feeling or wanting to remember something and it's not coming far more often than when we're younger. And when we're younger, we don't even think twice about it, do we? But when we're older and these things are happening, we do start to think about it. So I like to incorporate recall activities for fun and to give the brain a little workout. So what I want you to do for the next 1 minute, I want you to recall as many sayings as you can for going to sleep. And the one I'll give you is hit the hay. So I'm talking about sayings like that that mean going to sleep. Okay, there are several of them. So a minute or less, let's start cooking and come up with some of those sayings. And if you don't want to write them down and you just want to put them in the chat, that's okay too. And they can be read to me or read to all of us actually. Okay, if you've thought of at least one or two, go ahead and put them in, write them into the chat so they can be read aloud.
Sweet dreams, shuffle off to Buffalo.
I have not had Shuffle Off to Buffalo. I'm going to have to
Nor have
add
I.
that.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. Sweet
Nod
Dreams is
off,
good. Nod off.
nod off, sack out,
Hmm.
going night night. I thought of turn in for the night.
Uh-huh.
Oh, here's a good old fashioned sleep tight, don't let the bed bugs
Oh,
bite.
yeah. Yeah. Very
Catch
good.
some Z's, Z's,
Those
Z's.
all good. I forgot about this. My dad used to say night night winky dink when we were little. I didn't think about
Cute.
that until just now.
That's a good
Um,
little kid one.
it is, it is. I think he said a lot of them that I have here in my little cheat sheet. Um, saw some logs, hit the sheets, going to crash, get some shut eye, 40 winks, take a siesta. Of course, count some sheep. That's typically said. All right, excellent. Let's move on to our next pillar, eating a heart healthy diet. Uh, if um, if you think of what constitutes a heart healthy diet, and at this point in our lives, I think more than once we've heard of what is a good heart healthy diet. Mediterranean diet is a good heart healthy diet, but a heart healthy diet is a brain healthy diet. And some of the Characteristics of a heart healthy diet. I'll just read these aloud to you. And I may not read all of them, but you'll get the gist of what constitutes a heart healthy diet, which is a brain healthy diet. Whole grains, lean meats or lean proteins, limiting red meat, um, poultry, fish, adding in beans. At times, that's also a great source of protein. Low fat dairy, limiting our sodium and added sodium, added sugar. Choosing healthy fats, foods with monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats like vegetable oils, nuts, soybean oil, canola oil, flaxseed oil, olive oil, foods rich in omega-3 fatty acids like salmon, trout, tuna, sardines, anchovies, alcohol in moderation, drinking plenty of water to stay hydrated. That's one that should be added all the time to any diet. Choosing foods that are also rich in antioxidants, and some examples of those: berries, citrus fruits, dark leafy greens, broccoli, cabbage, sweet potatoes, carrots, dried beans, nuts, tea even is good for you. So these are just examples of what constitutes a heart healthy diet, and heart healthy is brain healthy. So, of course, if you do choose to change up your diet regime, always talk with your healthcare professional. And also think in terms of assessing that little bit of self-reflection too that I was saying as we talk about each of these pillars of brain health. Think, oh, I really should limit my red meat a little bit more. Maybe I will work on that in February. It is Heart Health Month, actually. So, think about maybe some small changes you'd like to make. Maybe you feel like you don't drink enough water and want to really, make that a little bit more, drinking a little bit more water. All right, next pillar. Next is exercising regularly. Um, Facetious cartoon there, kind of funny, kind of not. Uh, but from a research perspective, according to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Centers for Disease Control, older adults should participate in a minimum of 150 minutes each week of moderate intensity aerobic physical activity. Now, what constitutes aerobic? Aerobic is the type of exercise that raises one's heart and breathing rates. It's often called a cardio workout. So it's exercising. It's doing something where you build up a lather, you build up a sweat. You're having a good cardio workout. And that 150 minutes a week of moderate intensity aerobic physical activity can be broken up into chunks of time per week and chunks of time per day in the week. So it doesn't have to be done where you're exhausting yourself. You can choose to walk every morning with a friend, and then maybe choose to, in the evening, stand up and march behind the recliner every time there's a commercial or every other commercial, where you are moving, and you make sure you get up and you move around. Um, what are some examples of aerobic types of activities that you think um, are good to do or that you do? Anybody want to put into the chat? I think getting up and getting moving is really important no matter where you start. So if you do get permission from your doctor, even if you want to start exercising more, make every day include moving more. So whether you're parking 2 spots away at the grocery store from where you normally park, or you walk to a friend's house that's a block or two away if you're able to, versus driving over, or just moving more can really go a long way when you're really trying to build up to a routine.
Molly, we have a few comments in the
Great.
Q&A, some ideas for moving
Mm-hmm.
and getting exercise, riding a bike,
Mm-hmm.
Zumba,
Mm-hmm.
walking,
Fabulous.
running, and doing Pilates.
Very good. Very good. Sometimes I've had people say vacuuming or doing mopping the kitchen floor or doing other things can really be a workout for some people. So don't discount some of the things that you do in your daily house cleaning routine or, think outside of the box. Sometimes even gardening, if you're pulling, um, you know, bags of mulch and doing other things, that can be a bit of a cardio workout too. So
We have
think,
we got a
uh-huh,
couple more,
good.
swim and playing with my dog. And
Oh,
walking the dog could be
walking
another
the dog is
example of
another
that,
one.
playing with your cat,
Yes. I'd
playing
like,
with your snake or your lizard
yeah,
or whatever you have.
that's right. I'd like to claim walking my dog is aerobic, but she sniffs every 2 feet. So it's good for her with getting the gossip in the neighborhood, but it's not real aerobic for me, but I still enjoy
Yeah,
it nonetheless.
nice.
We
Can
have had, yes, go ahead.
Oh, if we can go back just for a moment to
Sure.
the healthy food and drink choices,
Uh-huh.
one of our attendees asks, what type of healthy drinks do you recommend? And like having something instead of having soda because it isn't as healthy for us.
Right. Well, you know what I'm going to say, water is the best thing we can do for ourselves. So I would say water. I would say, a glass of milk or if you can tolerate that and if it's okay, if from the standpoint of your diet and it's okay. I think I'm not a nutritionist, so I don't like to steer too far off the tracks, but I think water is very safe. It's a safe bet. And sometimes people say, "Oh, I have trouble drinking water. It's so boring." You certainly can add, fruit to your water. I've seen that some people add cucumber to the water, and I've never had that, but I would say my safe bet would be water. Okay,
Thank you.
sure.
Flavored
Um,
seltzer water we have as well. And I do
that's
that
good.
sometimes.
Mhm,
Yeah, Mary mentioned that.
mhm,
I sometimes take the fizzy water. You can get the kind with no sweetener at all, not
right.
the artificial sweetener, just like flavored seltzer water, like berry. And then I used to tell my kids, "Ooh, we're gonna have fizzy fruit drinks," and then I'd pour like a tiny bit of grape juice or orange juice, and then fill the rest
Perfect.
with sparkly water.
Perfect. That's excellent. Yes, that's a good idea, actually. I have lots of great nieces and nephews, so that's actually a good idea for them. All right. So if you've tried to commit to exercising more and seem to fizzle out, some people are really my 27-year-old son at the gym every morning. He really enjoys it. He he likes it for the body and the brain. But if you seem to do it for a while and then you kind of get off course a little bit, don't be hard on yourself. Just keep working on it gradually and start over again or start small. Try to commit to moving every single day in some way, other than the normal movement that we do. Do something just to move a bit more. All right. Here is another little activity to you will be recalling information that you already know. So that is semantic information. We'll talk more about that next month. But you see three words up here, jog, swim, and bike. Of course, those are all really good aerobic forms of exercise. And what I want you to do, though, this will be your intellectual exercise here. You see that I have OG underlined, I have IM underlined, and I have KE underlined. You can put those words on your scratch paper, and under each one of them, I want you to write down words that end in OG, IM, or KE, and you can put it under columns just like this. And I want you to not get stuck in the one syllable responses like jog, log, frog, because there are lots of words that end in OG, like dialogue ends in OG. So, and the same is true for IM and KE. So really dig in and think of words that end in these letters. I'll give you 2 minutes and we'll come back and throw some in the Q&A. And if you want to do it beforehand, then we'll be ready to read them. Okay? So go ahead, 2 minutes. I'm going to use my little clock here. Okay, 1 more minute. Okay, we're about at 2 minutes, so go ahead and throw some responses in the chat. Let's start with jog, OG. If you've already put some in there, maybe they can be read, the OG words.
Log, frog, smog.
Good.
Okay, we have the other letters.
Okay.
Smog, big.
All good.
Agog, agog.
Agog. Oh,
Wow.
mental gold star. That's a good
Yeah.
one.
Sprog.
Good.
Way to
Good.
go.
Uh-huh. That's excellent. See, and this activity is something that when we get off the call tonight, when we finish the webinar, you can still work on these. I would give you some of the answers. I'll give you 2 answers for jog. I don't want to give you a lot. Of course, I have my cheat sheet prepared. How about bullfrog
Oh, good one, Molly.
and unclog?
Mm,
That ends in OG as well. So think outside of the box. So just don't look up the answers. Use your noggin. How about I am?
let's see what we got for I am. Shim, Maxim,
Ooh, good. Both good.
claim, grim, Muslim, proclaim.
Good. Very good.
Epilogue. Oh, wait, that's a
Oh, epilogue
OG.
is good. That's a good one. Yep.
Epilogue.
Very good. Good I am words too. Excellent.
Log. Backlog.
Backlog, very
We're
good. See,
going back to
now you're
OG.
cooking. Now you're cooking. Very good. All answers are good answers. How about KE? Give us a few for those.
Got bike. We've got lake. Here's a good one. Artichoke.
Ooh, it's a
Let's
50
see what
center.
else we got.
Very good.
Ooh, groundhog. Nice, Anne.
Groundhog, good.
Backlog.
Backlog.
We're back. We're going back for a few of these.
That's good. Uh,
Bespoke. Oh, wait, we're not there yet.
bespoke is good. That's a K-E.
What are we on now? We're on
K-E.
M. Are we
We're,
are we on there? Yeah,
we're on
K-E.
K-E. Mm-hmm.
Like hike.
Mm-hmm.
K-E. Did we say bespoke?
Yes, very
Yep.
good. That's a really good one.
Yeah.
They're all good.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody gets the gist there. So that is something, it's a nice recall activity where you're recalling information you already know. You can work on this indefinitely. You can work on this until, have you ever worked on puzzles where you have to keep digging and digging and digging and thinking of answers? That's wonderful recall activity. So this is like that. So continue to work on that and we'll move along. You can work on it when we're finished here. Another pillar of brain health is managing our stress. And if I could see you in my face-to-face classes, I always ask people to raise their hands if they are completely stress-free in life. And I have yet to have a hand raise in any of my classes because we all have stress. We can't escape stress. There are positive and negative stressors. I just had the birth of a new great niece over the weekend, and that was a positive stressor in our lives. We were worried and anxious and that everything would go okay, but it was a beautiful, positive experience too. So we do have positive and negative stressors in our lives. We all need some stress in our lives to motivate us. So stress does serve as a little bit of a performance booster for us. It causes us to take action, to move, to get on with things, to take care of things, to do things that we're nervous about doing. If you've ever had to give a presentation, or if you were ever so nervous about something that your palms were sweaty or your hands were cold, or you had those physical signs of stress, but then when it's finished, you say things like, oh, I was so nervous about this, but I'm so glad it worked out so well, or I'm so glad it's over. That is the kind of energy boost that stress can serve for us, but too much stress or prolonged stress is not good for any of us. It is just simply not good for us. Now, Dr. Robert Sapolsky, Sapolsky, I like to talk about his book. He is a professor of biology and neurology at Stanford, and he wrote the book. He's written many books, but he wrote the book, Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers. And in his book, he talks about stress and the human response and compares that to animals like lions and zebras. So, as an example, if a zebra is on the plains and is grazing and seems to think that he or she is out there alone grazing, as soon as that zebra senses a lion in its midst, what does it do? It gets out of there, right? It uses its stress hormone to fuel its escape. If in scene two, if the zebra survives, what do we see? We see the zebra grazing, looking very serene. Um, it kind of just uses its stress hormone, it lives, life goes on. Humans are very different from other animals like zebras, from animals like zebras, lions. Humans are one of very few mammals that can be stressed by their own thoughts. So humans don't just use the stress hormone to fuel our escape, but we seem to worry about everything, don't we? We worry about the what ifs in our life. We worry about things that haven't happened. We worry about that they could happen. Zebras don't worry about job loss or someone in the family that is ill, or being ill yourself. Zebras don't have those worries, but as humans, we we have stressors that we worry about, and we are stressed by those thoughts a lot. So we need to find ways to manage that kind of stress that we have in our lives. So what are some things you do to manage your stress? Write that in the Q&A. Do we have any responses?
Let me look what
I'm
we've
sorry, I
got.
can't look myself with this screen sharing business.
It's all right. Okay, we've got breathing, take a
Mm-hmm.
walk,
Mm-hmm.
yoga,
Hmm.
and ice cream. Let's see,
Good,
wait, we've
good.
got a couple more. Mindfulness, pray, take a walk, go on walks, quiet, alone time to recharge, drink herbal tea, do a puzzle. I
Excellent.
typically meditate or get a massage.
I like that too.
That's nice for you. Breathe sequence 4 in, hold 2, exhale 6 counts.
Ooh,
Some good
fabulous.
ideas here.
Very good ideas, yes. Many of you said some of the things that I've already talked about, so you can see that these lifestyle contributing factors to brain health and body health all feed into one another. So some of you did mention exercise. One person mentioned ice cream, but that's good for us in moderation, right? But
Absolutely.
maybe
Yeah,
eating, some people will say, I need to eat better. I stressed and my stomach seems upset. And so sometimes eating better will help. Sometimes sleeping or working on getting better sleep will help with some of these stressors. So whatever you do to manage your stress is key there, managing it in a healthy way. All right. So there are two more pillars of brain health that we'll talk about in our time left. It's 7:14. The next one is having that social and emotional support. So staying in the game of life socially. And the Beatles have it right when they say, I get by with a little help from my friends because having friendships, having those connections, vital to our health, completely vital. Dr. Marion Diamond was a professor of neuroanatomy at the University of California, Berkeley, and she studied how having social connections, or what she referred to as love, having love in our lives impacts the health of our brains. And in 2 months, when we I present Two Heads Are Better Than One, I'm going to get into her research quite a bit more. But I love that she includes having love or what she means by love is that we need to have significant social connections in life. We need to be challenged by others. We need to challenge others. We need to support others. We need to be supported by others. So, not we do know that not all of our connections carry the same weight, right? We have all kinds of, if you think about all of the, for lack of a better term, friendships you have in your life, whether it be with family, friends, or others, you have all kinds of circles of friends. And in your innermost circle are probably the people that you would deem your intimate friendships, your intimate connections. It could be your closest friends, your family members. It might be a neighbor that's been a lifelong neighbor for 40 years, and that person is your right arm, you are her left arm, his left arm. Those are your closest friends. And then we have the outer circle that might include some of the acquaintances that we see fairly often in our lives. It might be you go to the grocery store and you always get in the line with the same uh, checker every time you leave. You always go to her line or his line. Or you go to the bank and you always like to go to the same bank teller. Those are some acquaintances that you also, these little acquaintance relationships carry significance when you look at your entire picture of social connections. And even some of the connections that we have that we don't necessarily know people very well, those are even important. So if you are going out to the mailbox and the mail carrier, my mailbox is at the street, so our mail carrier drives by in the truck. I wave to her, she waves back. I have no idea what her name is, but she is the same face that I've seen for the last 10 or 15 years. So that isn't a kind of a distant acquaintance, that is still someone that, it's you might discount even what that relationship means, but all of those from a research standpoint, even if they don't carry the same weight, all connections are important. This is work from Dr. Claudia Cowis, a neurologist at the University of California, Irvine, she had identified that the connection between the number of social contacts one has and one's state of mental well-being is significant. That there is quite a bit of evidence now suggesting the more people you have contact with in your own home or outside, the better you fare. So when you wave to someone just because you're a nice person and they wave back, and you brush that off as nothing, it's something. Okay, so remember that. And the last lifestyle contributing factor I'll present tonight is challenging your brain with newness, variety or novelty, and increasing difficulty. And I told you we would talk about intellectual engagement. This is my favorite lifestyle contributing factor because I'm a lifelong learner, and obviously you're here on a Monday night with me, so you are too. So current research indicates that learning new things is vital to brain health. So if you've said things like, someday I'd like to learn to play the piano, or I'd like to play the guitar, or I'd really love to learn sign language, or I'd love to learn a new language, or I'd love to read this book that everyone is reading, but I just can't seem to motivate myself to get started. I I'm a woodworker and I'd like to really try a different pattern. These things are all wonderful and wonderfully important. There is a big difference between a mental challenge and a mental activity and a mental challenge, just as there is a difference between a physical activity and a physical challenge. A physical activity, tonight after eating dinner, I washed the dishes. I wasn't standing still, I was moving, right? So I would deem it a physical activity. How does that compare to running a 5K in the next 4 weeks? Preparing to run a 5K. Very different, right? So a mental challenge might be to sit in your family room, look out the window, and really look for the birds in your backyard, or not a good time of year as this example, but looking at birds flying around as you sit out on the patio or sit in and look out your picture window. How does that compare to going to the library and researching birds that are native to this area of Illinois? Mental activity, mental challenge. So the more you challenge yourselves, the better. The key thing, though, is to challenge yourself with things that you enjoy. So if you start, let's say you want to learn a new language and you get started and you think, oh, I don't know, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. You may stick with it if let's say you paid for a class or something, but do focus on doing things you enjoy doing, because that makes life far more enjoyable, and you can work on making the activities harder and harder then. So we're here at a library tonight, so let's say that you have shied away from a particular author that many find a bit difficult but good. Try it. Maybe you want to try a book that has many different subplots and characters where you even have to take side notes in order to keep track. Try it. If you are a woodworker, try a different pattern. If you're a crocheter, try a different pattern. So whatever it is you do and enjoy doing, take it up a notch and break that mental sweat. All right. So
Molly, we have one of our attendees suggested take chess lessons to improve your chess playing skills.
that
That's a
is
good example of
fabulous.
challenging the brain.
That's a
And
fabulous
then,
challenge.
yeah, and then you let me know when you're wrapping up, and then we'll open it up to some questions.
Oh, that's fabulous. I am doing one more activity and then we'll close up shop for my part of the talk, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Good. This is the last activity, everyone, and it's called states. You see it at the top, STEIGHTS. It's play on words. And we're talking about the United States. What are United States? The various states are called. And again, this is a recall activity. So you see M, N, and a question mark. So you can make 3 columns on your scratch paper if you'd like. There are 8 states that begin with the letter M, as in Molly. There are 8 states that begin with the letter N, as in Nancy. And then there are 8 states that each of those states is the only state that begins with a given letter. Like Florida is the only state in the US that begins with an F, as in Frank. So there are 7 others where each of those states is the only state that begins with a given letter. Okay, so why don't you go ahead and think. Now I'll give you 2 minutes or so, and you can jump column to column as you think of them. Think of the 8 states that begin with M, 8 states that begin with N, and 8 states, or 7 now, that each of those states is the only state with a given letter. Okay, I'll be quiet. 2 minutes. Okay, 1 minute has passed. 1 more minute. Okay, let's stop and come back together, and I will stop share so that I can give the answers. I will ask though, I can see the Q&A now actually. I will
Hmm.
ask if you, um, with the M states, oh good, I see there are some answers, so I think I'll just give you the answers. Is that okay with everybody? I see anonymous attendee had 6 of the M states, excellent. All right, so your answers are, and then you can make a little cheat sheet and stump your friends and family members. 8 states that begin with M: Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Missouri, Minnesota, Mississippi, Michigan, Montana. The 8 states that begin with N: Nebraska, Nevada, New Hampshire, New Jersey, New Mexico, New York, North Carolina, North Dakota. If you got into the news, you could get almost half of the 8 states with the word new. And then the 8 states where each state is its own letter: Florida, like I mentioned, Delaware, Georgia, Hawaii, Louisiana, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, and Utah. Okay. Again, another good recall activity. Recall is fun, good for the noggin. So today we talked about 6 brain health contributing factors: sleep, diet, exercise, managing our stress, staying in the social game of life, and challenging ourselves intellectually. Next month, I will talk about memory and how memory works, and we'll have a couple more pen and paper activities, and I think you'll find it to be fun. Okay, so
Molly, we do have a question. What is your advice on people that have challenges with symptoms of ADHD?
yeah, see, I don't stray where I don't know, so I don't really know very much about ADHD in relation to brain health. So I'm sorry, but I will never try to answer something that I'm not fully aware of. But it is a good
Well,
question.
yeah, it is. And come to the library because I'm sure we have tons of
Yes,
information and resources
yes.
related to that question. So, Molly, this has been really some fantastic information, and I loved all the brain health
Oh,
quizzes.
good,
That
good.
was fun. I always enjoy those, and they do help keep you sharp, don't they?
They
Would,
do. They
will you
do.
mention again the name of the doctor and the book that you
Sure.
said earlier in the program?
Sure. When I was talking about stress management, this was the work of Dr. Robert Sapolsky, S-A-P as in Peter, O-L-S-K-Y, and it's called Why Zebras Don't Get Ulcers.
I like the name.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
one of our attendees tonight said that he's already found the book and
Oh, there
through
you
our
go.
library system, and he has it on hold,
All right.
which is
Very
great.
good. Very
And then,
good.
yeah, you mentioned our next session, part two of our brain health series, is called Hold That Thought. And one quick little teaser I have about it is, have you ever gone into a room and completely forgotten why you went in there? I know I have.
You have
Uh,
to.
at next, or sorry, March 3rd is our next program. So it's going to be the first Monday of each of the 3 months, including tonight. So
Mhm.
March 3rd, part two, hold that thought. We're going to learn all about the memory process, including types of memory and strategies with helping with or for helping with everyday forgetfulness, which I know I can use, and I figure all of us can. So, Molly, I thank you again. This has really been great. We did record the program tonight. So, if you know anyone who might benefit from this, it'll be up on the library's YouTube channel in a couple of days. So, our thanks to Molly Hofer, our thanks to our attendees who were wonderful in the
Yes,
question and
thank you for
answer
all your
chat.
responses. You
Great
make the program the
participation.
way it is. I thrive on interaction, so
Yeah.
we prove that it can be done even virtually, right?
We sure do. And we have many thanks for this wonderful presentation
Oh,
from
good.
Luann. And Anne says, thank you. This was fun. The games added to the common sense presentation. So
Thank you,
good
Anne.
stuff.